Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Drive. The Sunday Drive is sponsored by Midtown Mattress in downtown Lindsay. They are so much more than just mattresses though. They also have home decor and furniture, and recently they got in Ashley Furniture. So next time you're looking for a new piece, check out Midtown Mattress in Lindsay. Today we are going to be speaking with Monica Jardine. She is the co-owner and funeral director at Jardine Funeral Home in Fenelon Falls. They're celebrating more than 150 years in business this year. We're going to talk to her about that and why she decided to become a funeral director and a lot more on this edition of the Sunday Drive. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Jardine Funeral Home in Fenelon Falls, 150 years, more than 150 years in business. Wow, that is a long time.
It is.
It's one of the longest running businesses in the city of Kawartha Lakes.
Well, it is definitely one of the top ones. There's been 5 families that have owned this business throughout the 150 years. So there was the Damon family, the Plattons, the Illmans, and ourselves, and very, very briefly in there was a couple of years where there was a Mr. Wag from Port Perry that owned it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to become a funeral director? It's a little unconventional.
It is, especially for at that time a young woman entering a predominantly male-based profession. So interestingly, when I graduated Humber College in Toronto, we were one of the classes with more women than men when I graduated in 1992. So for me, funeral service was kind of, it was a choice, but it was also a curiosity. So I was, not that I was obsessed or had any big interest in death. It was more the, how much is there to know about a dead body? But in reality, it's not just the person that's died that's the issue. It's the caring for the bereaved. There's just so much more that goes into becoming a funeral director than the hands-on care of the deceased. So it was very quickly I found out that this was my calling, even though I happened to stumble upon it. I think that some young people go into funeral service and then find out very quickly that this is not what they've signed up for. But I was fortunate, really fortunate. And when I landed here in Fenelon Falls in 1993, of course I was employed by Paul and Evelyn Illman, and I had a fantastic mentor. So it just further solidified the reason why I wanted to be in a small town and in a small community. Funeral service is very challenging. There is no day that's typically the same. Every day you can wake up and be presented with new challenges. We pretty well operate on a 24-hour cycle. There's no in between, there's no breaks, there's no tapping out. And that's not said of all funeral homes. We just coincidentally also live in our business, which means that the phone rings at night as well as during the day. So
you answer it. And
we answer our phones day and night. So it's kind of funny, last night Rob answered a phone call about 10 o'clock. And I don't know, the commentary just kind of started, and Rob's come back to the person, and I had to chuckle while I was trying to get myself to sleep. He said, "Oh yes, we doze, but we never close."
That's a good one.
It is a good one. So I made sure to pop that into my phone in order to kind of remember that little quote, because yeah, there are times where we just doze, and there are other times where while everyone is sleeping, we're up still working.
How has the business changed over all these years?
Considerably. I mean, there was a big change when I first came into funeral service in 1992. There was a new act that was just adopted. And since then, there has been another new act. We're not under the Board of Funeral Service anymore. We're under the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, which covers monuments and cemeteries all under the one umbrella. So it really becomes a bereavement death care industry, if I want to say industry, but we are professionals all under that same umbrella, which means all of us are following rules and regulations.
So let's talk a little bit more about, I guess, the difficult part of this job, right? And that is that you are dealing with death on an almost daily basis. And also, you know, there's the factor, a lot of people look at what you do and they're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. So did you ever experience that?
So I think there was a point in time, again, back in the early 90s where, you know, being a woman and the concern being, ooh, is that really what you want to do? There's so much physical labor involved, lifting and so on. But for me, those were all real challenges that I was willing to face. As far as the difficulty of the job day in, day out, yeah, there are times where I have been faced, and my husband has been faced, and every professional in this industry has been faced with moments that are not great. Moments that where you close your eyes and you wish you could just forget. So, and those are things that stick with us. We still put on that professional appearance and we still do what we need to do. But the mental health toll and the PTSD is a real factor. I know for myself that I do suffer with a degree of that, and it's only been recently where I've finally been able to acknowledge the toll of carrying that with me through my 20s, 30s, and 40s.
You know, many of, or most of the people that.
Yeah. But for me, I find that a gift. Like I find that the level of empathy and the level of caring is just kind of upped. Because if I didn't have that emotional connection, I might miss out on the really caring aspects of what I do.
I was going to say, how has this career that you chose changed, or I guess informed your perception of death?
Well, death is not taboo for us, and anyone who is around us know that ultimately the conversation will always get back to death. So in some instances we can make light of it and we can be lighthearted, but there's always a serious side, and we respect that. I think sometimes when you're working in professions that are a little bit more challenging emotionally wise, there's always a way to be able to be a little bit more upbeat about it. So I'll give you a small example. Also, my dad says, "You're just gonna put me in a blue box." I'm like, "Dad, what do you mean? Like a blue recycle box?" He's like, "Yeah, just put me in a blue box." And I'm like, "No problem." Mental check. My dad wants a number 70 from Northern Casket. So after we get our ice cream, one of our most favorite things to do is just to walk along the pier and then along the water and end up over at the museum and then over at Garnet Graham Park. And we just enjoy and sit and eat our ice cream and watch the sunset. It's absolutely beautiful. Our website is constantly evolving. We're constantly working on it. Currently, we are trying to incorporate some artificial intelligence. So I have recorded many sessions in order to create an avatar for myself. And currently we're creating the audio component for that, so that at some point you will be able to log into our website and you will be greeted by my face, along with the ability to listen to what I have to say in order to direct you through my website, whether or not you want cremation, aquamation, or want to be buried.
I like that.
Yes,
that's interesting.
It is very interesting. It's been a year, almost a year and a half of trying to get that. The technology is really new, and it's constantly evolving. So it's a labor of love. We're definitely looking and talking about retirement in the near future. That might still be, 5 or 6 years away, but we're starting to prepare, starting to think about it.